Hey everybody, Nick Espinoza, your chief security fanatic here. And today we have an update on the Trump campaign because their data breach appears to be ongoing. Now, if you're a longtime listener, follower of mine, you know I follow these kinds of things and I will just lay the ground rules out real quick. This is not political. These are the facts on the ground. I don't care if you love or hate the guy or his opponent, Kamala Harris. The point is, we have to talk about this from a cybersecurity standpoint. And I recently, about a week or two ago, actually did a presentation with information, all this kind of stuff on what we knew at the time. And we have an update. And it ain't good because attackers reportedly have had access to former President Donald Trump's campaign systems through at least mid-September, and evidence suggests this breach is probably ongoing. Now, the FBI confirmed about a week ago or so that attackers believed to be linked to the Iranian regime infiltrated Trump's campaign systems on August 12th of this year and targeted sensitive documents from that campaign. Now, at the time, the attackers basically sought to interest then Democratic nominee President Joe Biden in unsolicited emails containing stolen Trump campaign documents to interfere essentially with the 2024 election. The emails were reportedly received by several people associated with Biden's campaign and by multiple U.S. outlets, including the New York Times and Politico, two major publications in the political sphere. However, journalist Judd Legum detailed in his Popular Information newsletter this past Tuesday that he received a further set of documents from an anonymous source named Robert, which is the original source back from August. At least somebody's at least calling themselves that. We don't know if it's the same person, different people, whatever it is. But that Robert said that basically he had included internal campaign files into the email to this journalist. Now, while some of the documents held potential news value, only one newly surfaced document dated September 15th, again, the original report was August 12th, indicates that obviously this is both recent and more extensive than initially thought by the FBI. The new document essentially is a letter from the campaign, and it's addressed to the New York Times that complains about an article in the New York Times questioning Trump's reputation as a successful businessman. Now, again, not political, don't care if you think he's an absolute genius or a fraud or whatever. It's not my business, but this is what we are talking about. Now, Legum, the journalist, ultimately decided against publishing them, noting that, quote, the stolen materials do not provide the public with any fundamental new insight about Trump or his campaign, end quote, but did contact the New York Times and Semaphor's Ben Smith to confirm the September 15th document's legitimacy. Now, a source at the New York Times confirmed that the document was legitimate, and essentially they also confirmed that to Semaphore, which adds weights to the concern over the breach's magnitude and any potential ongoing access these attackers, allegedly from Iran, may have on campaign materials by the Trump campaign. Now, in a statement to Semaphore about the new document, Trump spokesperson Stephen Chung said that it did not directly address the widening scope of the attack and also attacked Iran's motivations by saying, and I quote, Iran is terrified of the strength and resolve of President Donald J. Trump, end quote. Iranian officials, for the record, have denied any involvement despite the FBI's findings. And so, obviously, this is a huge problem. Now, we've seen hacking in elections before. We've seen multiple targeting in elections before. In 2016, the DCCC was hacked. We saw think tanks being hacked. All this information was dumped. Hillary herself had a massive email dump come out that, full disclosure, actually involved some of my clients at the time, et cetera, et cetera. And so this obviously is a huge issue. And if one of the major campaigns, and there are two of them, Republicans and Democrats, in this election, if there is insider access by essentially a foreign threat actor, meaning an intelligence service of Iran or another adversarial country, this isn't good. This potentially poisons the well. Now, obviously, any candidate, I don't care what the candidate is, should essentially be elected on his or her merits. And obviously, there is going to be internal information, whether they're debating on how to approach, like, oh, Trump said something, so we should put this out, or Harris said something, so we should put this out. There's going to be those internal debates that gives us insight into how the campaign thinks or operates. That doesn't necessarily change who the candidate is, though. And so we're going to see what happens here, but I'm not a fan of this no matter what. And again, I don't care if you love or hate the guy. No campaign should be targeted. I don't care if you're running for dog catcher. It should be something that we take sacrosanct in terms of election integrity. And so by virtue of that, while it doesn't change any votes necessarily like in a voting tabulation machine, it may change perceptions. And so far from everything that we know and that we've seen, with this information not being published and with the then Biden campaign alerting the FBI to this, as previous hacks have happened as well. Al Gore, I believe, alerted the FBI when he received insider information on the George W. Bush campaign in the 2000 election. So we have a history of being honest and transparent about these things in this country. I hope that this is the same way. And so we'll see what happens. But at the end of the day, we have to be prepared for these kinds of things, because threat actors would love to tear this country apart. And quite frankly, we can't let them. And please like, share, follow me here on Facebook and Twitter at NickAESP. And please feel free to subscribe to me at YouTube as well. And as always, stay safe, stay online, and please attempt to stay private. And if you're an American citizen, please vote in November, or early vote. Whatever you believe, I don't care. Just vote. Take care.